Welcome to Shambhavi Spectrum Sewing Machine Speak series. It's just the beginning of Ramadan, and I have the lovely Tanya Jain here with me from Threads. Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Thank you very much. And I'm so glad that you decided to share your story with us. Tell me, when did your journey with the sewing machine start?
I come from a family of females that have sewn for years. My great grandmother was a tailor, which was passed down to my grandmother, which was passed down to my mum and myself. So I used a sewing machine probably from the age of about 8 or 9. And for my 80th birthday was bought my own first sewing machine by my parents.
Tell me, what was the machine like, the one which you used before your personal gift which you received?
The machine that my mum was using was a Singer machine, um, which was ancient because it was a few years ago. But yeah, it was good. The one thing it didn't have on it at that time was automatic buttonholes. You had to do them all manually.
Okay. And what did you graduate into?
My mother bought me a Jones, which I don't think is really recognised now. And again, that didn't have automatic buttonholes on. So made life slightly more challenging, but yeah. So
I,
and
I,
I made with family all sorts of clothes throughout my teens and my early 20s.
I was going to ask you that what actually qualified you to, receive a sewing machine as a gift?
So, well, I think it was my interest. I was, as a child, I was making dolls' clothes. And I later on progressed to making my own clothes. And my mum always made clothes for me when I was a child. So it was just natural progression.
So there's always a little bit of a joy of making your own skirt, wearing it, and going the next day. Is that?
Exactly. I mean, I got into making ball dresses and all sorts for myself with help from family.
Did you do for friends as well?
I helped with a wedding dress. Yeah, for a very good friend, I did a wedding dress, which was interesting. And so,
I know buttonhole is, I think, the industry's gift to us ladies, automatic buttonhole. I'm completely with you on that. And I'm sure you see posts where I keep endorsing, please look for automatic one step buttonhole if possible. So, what are the various things that you have done using the buttonhole apart from just a technical buttonhole? Do you do anything? I mean, it's supposed to have a lot of uses. Have you used it for anything else?
no, I've only ever used it to put the buttons onto clothing.
Okay, so I think that's one thing we should experiment and explore a little bit more. We'll keep that as a promise because I know you can make loops and things like that. We'll definitely look into that. So tell me more about the machine that you have now, and you've based your profession around that. You're also into embroidery. How did that happen?
The embroidery came around because my aunt died, and I part inherited, part paid for her embroidery machine, which was a brother. And I thought to myself, well, rather than it just sit in England, why don't I bring it out to Dubai? At the time, I was at home with my child and I was studying. And of course, I had free time. So I thought, why don't I bring it out and just try and do a little bit of embroidery, and try and make back the money that I'd paid for the machine. Um, that grew. The studying stopped, and I never did anything further with the studying. Of course, the child is still at home, the family is still at home. But yeah, the embroidery business has definitely grown. I became licensed and did markets, and now do it through word of mouth. So it's certainly something that's very grown. It's nice because I can do bespoke pieces. I can design it to how people want it. I've been asked to design logos. There's been a lot of fun out there, and I think there becomes a lot of joy from the people that receive the gifts that I make.
Absolutely. So, tell me a little bit more about the embroidery machine, and if somebody is trying to buy an embroidery machine, a first timer who's interested, what kind of advice would you give them, and what should they look out for?
I have to say, I obviously learned on this machine, which is a Brother Innovis. I've had great fun with it. It's been fairly easy to conquer. And of course, you make mistakes along the way. That's all part of the learning pattern. But the machine I have is a pure embroidery machine. You have some that are sewing machines and embroidery machines. So in my office, I have a big embroidery machine. I have a sewing machine. I have an overlocker. So I'm beginning to get a number of machines around me. If you're doing it simply for your own joy, then I think it might be slightly easier to have a sewing and a multiple embroidery machine, so that you can cut down on the space you need and everything else. But because I've gone into business on it, having a pure embroidery machine has worked perfectly for me.
Right. And tell me, you said that you digitize and logos and stuff. So, what kind of software do you use? And did you train yourself? How did you,
I
what was the learning process like?
I haven't got to the level where I can digitalize, but what I do is I can't remember the name of the system I use. There's a system I use that I can take the patterns and then I can add to it with writing, and basically I just play around and get the design that people want. I mean, there's been a lot of times I can send you some photographs afterwards.
I would love to have them, and I would love to share it as a part of so that the audience can also see. And so, tell me, what have you been your kind of gratifying moments as far as your sewing or your embroidery journey is concerned?
Um, for me, it's always been the satisfaction of what you achieve. So like when I was younger and making clothes for myself, it would be the satisfaction of being able to go out and wear the dress or the coat or the whatever I'd made. Um, and I have to say, I think my son has picked that up as well, because for his 10th birthday, we also bought him a sewing machine. And he made himself like a t-shirt top out of cotton in fabrics that he liked. And there's a few other things that he's made in between. And I think it is all that, achievement of, hey, look what I can make, look what I can do.
It's a skill. It's an absolute skill, and it's so I'm so happy to hear that, because if at 10 he's taken on to it, that means he really loves it. And you bought him a machine, that really means that he must be dedicated to sewing, and it's a skill for life, all said and done. And this is always my regret, that people do not put on their resume that they know how to sew. And
Yeah,
I've come across many men who do actually sew, who help their grandmoms and moms, and who sew themselves, and apart from the fashion designers who are like
of course.
mostly men. Tell me more about Thread Threads. And I see that you are on Facebook and you're on Insta, and it says Thread Threads 2016. Tell me about that.
2016 was when I set up. Threads, it came about. Tread is actually an anagram of all the creative ladies in my family. So
Wow.
you
I
take
wouldn't have guessed it. I
you
wouldn't
take
have
the
guessed it.
initials, and they're all. Obviously, I'm the T. So, but you take the initials, and it's my mum, my nan, my aunts. Everyone that has turned their hands to a sewing machine or some sort of a craft. So that's where the name came from. Threads, obviously, because with embroidery, that's what you're dealing with. And yeah, as I said, I started small. Originally I just started doing pictures. I did them on felt and framed them. And then slowly over time, I then started working on aprons, pashminas, denim jackets, denim shirts, and it's slowly grown. I mean, I now do keychains, I do bookmarks, I personalize. In fact, this one's waiting to go.
Yeah.
Hasn't
So
returned
I
yet.
I know,
I've been
Tanya. What I'll do is I'll step out so that you can show whatever you have, which we kept ready before the session started. So you probably will not hear me, but I'm right here. And please do show and do continue the story.
So yeah, as I said, these are the on my page. You'll see several of these that have been personalized. I also dabbled with the elephant. Unfortunately, the elephant's ears aren't quite so big, and it's a bit more tricky. As I said, key fobs of different styles, depending on people's likes. I also made some tooth cushions. So the children
what is that? What is that? I've never seen anything like this. What is it?
It's a tooth cushion. So when the child loses their tooth, they can put their tooth inside, and the tooth fairy can come and take it and put the coin in.
How lovely. How lovely.
So I've been asked to do over the years several aprons. Some of them are just designed. This is my own personal one. And some of them are completely, they have names on and designs. So it's really down. This again is just another design of a French chocolate chef. So, and basically I try my hand at many things.
Very nice. Yeah,
this was
yeah,
me
I
practicing on hats. So people ask me to do things, and I try, and if I can do it, then fantastic.
Very nice, wonderful, very sweet. Even the elephant was so cute, and of course the hat was. What was the embroidery on the hat as such?
It's a tortoise.
All right.
Because I wanted to have the nautical theme.
Very nice, beautiful.
Oh, the turtle.
Nice. Thank you for that. So tell me something. If somebody wants to get their stuff embroidered, how do they reach out to you? Please do give me I'll share the description of the Facebook and Insta in the description. But do tell me how do people reach out to you, and how much time does it take for you to, kind of for the turnaround for you to actually hand it over to them ready and
I was actually on Not in the Malls, which unfortunately has subsequently closed down. And I was saying embroideries will take, depending what it is, either 1 week or 2 weeks, because that gives me time to work out what the person needs, build on it. I mean, some embroideries will take a lot longer. I'm doing one at the moment for a gentleman who's drawn his own design. We've had it digitalized, and it's going to go on the back of his waistcoat he's going to wear for his wedding later on in the year. So things like that take an awful lot longer to make sure that we get it exactly right. I spend a lot of time, especially if I'm doing something from scratch, doing run-throughs to make sure that we're absolutely correct, because of course once you commit to the actual product, it's committed. I can't suddenly undo it because it's there. So yeah, I do spend an awful lot of time doing that. Facebook and Instagram, you can contact me through my pages, and attached to them is a WhatsApp button as well, so you can contact me through WhatsApp as well. So yeah, I try to keep in contact, make sure that people know what's going on, and yeah, how things are changing, what I'm doing. It's worth following the pages, because as you've probably noticed, there's always new things going on there. The elephant's quite new. So as things update, and as I'm being asked to do new things, I'm putting them onto the pages. So yeah, you get a good idea of what I can do from there.
Okay. So you have actually been continuing your aunt's legacy. It's the machine from where you started the embroidery journey. Are there any stories that you want to share with the audience today, about the machine, or about any kind of piece which you did? Anything you want to share with the audience?
As I said, I've done several things which have been bespoke, which people have specifically asked for. Sometimes people want to bring like their own aprons to me, and for me to put the designs onto there. or sometimes they contact me, and as you can see, I have behind me lots and lots of things in stock. I have aprons in stock and other things. So you know, it's basically a build up of what the person needs. You know, I've had many people come to me with pashminas or blankets to put names on for children. I've even been asked to do aprons for adults, for barbecues, for housewarming presents. So yeah, it's basically just building up and going from there. I mean, my aunt had the love. I didn't realize the love until I got the machine, and then I've taken on the love.
Yes, and you're passing it on to your son and
Oh,
embroidering stuff and to others as well. So thank you so much for sharing your journey and threads 2016. And I'm so glad that we got an opportunity to talk about you, about your business, and learn more about your thread. I just loved it that you have your family, and it's like a protective circle that kind of encompasses you, the love. So wishing you all the very best, Tanya. Don't go away. I'll just stop the recording now, and we'll catch up
okay.
in just a bit, right?
All right. Thank you.
Thank